If you want to be a singer, you need to be around singers. Then if they respect you, if they like you, they will put you on. Yo, I can't do this gig. Yo, I can't do this gig, but my homegirl should do it. And bam, be ready.
Right.
I was willing to do, because I'm right here, like, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to sacrifice this, I have to sacrifice that. Like, I know that I shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying, sleeping on nobody's couch, you know, like, you know, my whole life. I have to make this work.
Right.
But then it's write these 5 songs for these artists. Yo, man, you don't put your name on it. Nah, we gonna get you, bro. We gonna get you. We can't put your name on it right now, man. Well, look, we ain't got no money for you right now. We can't put your name on it because, you know, you just an intern. So just like, don't fall for none of that, even if it's right there. Because if it's good enough for them to want it, it's good enough for you to do it on your own.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fya Sidechats. Yeah. So I am here with the wonderful, the talented, the amazing singer. His voice is like butter. So yes, please give a warm welcome to Ombre.
What's up, y'all?
I want to jump into it. Ombre, thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's a joy to be here.
Thank you. Alrighty, so I want to ask you, I know your family background in jazz and in blues is rich in history. How did these influences kind of shape your journey as a new artist? And then especially in an industry that often prioritizes like trends over being authentically yourself?
Well, I started off listening to jazz because my mom used to say that I was a crybaby, and she could not get me to shut up.
Really?
And she would say, I couldn't get you to shut up. When one day I was just like, you know, I was through with it. I turned on some music. It so happened to be a jazz station. She said I stopped crying.
Really?
Yep. And so every time when she wanted me to stop crying or before I went to sleep, she would put on jazz, and then I would stop crying and go to sleep. And I've been doing that ever since. So that is how I got interested in jazz. And then on Sundays, they would do classic jazz, which is like the old times from the 20s, 30s, 40s. And like during the Harlem Renaissance. And when you had Ella, when you had Count Basie, when you had later Miles Davis, just everybody. Sarah Vaughan, Nina Simone started to come. So you started hearing those voices, and they used to play that on Sundays. And I just fell in love, like, with the vocal aspect of it. Because I was used to hearing the instrumentalists.
Yeah.
So, and I fell in love with it. And as far as the music, as far as the trend, you just gotta love what you do. You know, if you look, trends change.
Right.
And then people make trends. When Amy Winehouse came out, there was nobody like her. And then she just, you know, blew up. And then, you know, when Chris Brown came out, that was a totally different sound, totally different person, but equally as successful, you know, or notoriety at least, you know what I mean? And so I think that you just have to love what you do and be honest in what you're doing. You'll make your own lane, you'll carve your own lane, especially if you're good at it and if you know what you're doing.
That's so excellent. You bringing up that point kind of reminds me that trends are basically started from the people who are being authentically themselves.
That's right. You got a word. They preaching already, and it's early, you know.
You know, I should make a little segment when, you know, something as a word, just a word, just a W.
Put it on there. We ready. You know, we're here for it.
It's funny that you say that story because actually, and my mom can attest to it, like when I was in her stomach, I wouldn't move. I would just be kind of still in the stomach. And my mom, she would play Whitney Houston and Maxwell. She would put the little headphones on her stomach like this and play the music. And they said, my mom and dad said every time that they would play music, specifically Whitney Houston and Maxwell, I would start moving.
There you go.
I would start moving.
That's what it is. And you know what, that's funny because you just named 2 totally different artists.
Exactly.
Totally different things. Both have notoriety.
Right.
Because they're true to their sound.
Right.
And they good at it. Oh, Maxwell? What? A woman's work? What?
That is my favorite.
The
male
live version.
Artist.
Have you heard the live version of A Woman's Work?
Oh, yes. Man, it's crazy.
It was crazy. Sustained overtones. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I know that you attended Booker T. Washington High School for the Performing Arts.
Yes.
You know, I'm a Fairfax alum, but
I don't know them.
that's crazy.
You know Erykah Badu, you know Norah Jones, multi-Grammy Award winning artist. You know you're gonna come out of our school.
You know, whatever.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I know that must have been a really inspiring experience, especially knowing that legacy artists, like you just said, Erykah Badu and Norah Jones, you know, they came out of there. Right. So how did those experiences impact your understanding of what you do as an artist? And also, how did that kind of impact the pressures of being in the industry?
You kind of have to know what your story is going to be and know that it's not going to look the same as everybody else's, because otherwise that pressure to be like, if I'm not Erykah Badu, if I don't make it, then I haven't made it. Right. Are you doing what you love to do and getting paid for it? Let's start there. You know what I mean? Let's start at the base. Just because you don't have notoriety, you're not working a 9-to-5 job that you may necessarily don't like, but you're doing what you love to do and you're getting paid for it. Right. You might not be on Erykah Badu's level, but you're making increments, you're getting higher. And then when you're making increments in your notoriety, your pay makes increments, you know what I'm saying? So I would say really just kind of navigating the pressure of it is just understanding, okay, am I doing something that I love? And am I reaping rewards from it? And so that kind of negates any pressure that I try to put on myself when I was coming up. And still, because even now, I don't have the notoriety that I'd like, but I've gotten paid to do what I love to do. It was definitely inspiring having Erykah, especially another person totally different, came in the game, set a whole new trend. Right, exactly. Then you had Jill, then you had Indy, you know what I mean, Guapale, and everybody else that came after. And so Norah Jones, same thing, came out, boom, multi-Grammy Award winner. So it was definitely inspiring because, as you know, what we love to see is representation. Right, exactly. And we got a chance to see it represented. And when you have that representation, it's now I believe that I can do this. Right. So yeah, that's really what it was. Fire. Yes, that's fire. That's fire.
So then kind of like take us then on that journey, like of you starting off. Like, when did you realize you wanted to sing and like make that your thing?
I didn't want to sing, I wanted to write.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted to be a writer. I didn't want to sing, but I knew I had to get somebody to sing what I wrote, and I couldn't get anyone to sing what I wrote.
So you started singing.
So I started singing. And then my mom was like, you know, I told her that I wanted to be president, a lawyer, a chef, and the first president. She was like, but you sound good, bro. So why don't you get to singing? So I started singing, and yeah, jazz was just the music that I knew. It was the music that I grew up on. Of course, I listened to other stuff and loved it, but I was indoctrinated in jazz. You know, like they talk about Sarah Vaughan when they say she could have really sang anything, especially even like classical music, which we were trained to do too. Right. But you sort of get a conviction for a style. It's almost like some people like fried chicken, some people like caviar. Maybe less people like caviar than fried chicken, but caviar is expensive because it's in its own. And so I look at it like that even though not a lot of people like it or not a lot of people respond to it in the way that it was when it was popping, it's still a lane for it in some ways. Because you can look at even think about some time period movies, timepieces in movies, and they hire jazz singers because they want to fit in for that time. And you never know where it can go. I started just singing it because I wanted to write, and then there's a group called MIDI Ensemble at Booker T, and it's the hardest group to get into. I don't want no hate out there, but for me, MIDI Ensemble was it was the hardest group to get into because they only allow like 3 singers. And then it was a band, and you're basically creating your own music with that band every day. Wow, yeah. And of course, I went to Arts Magna, so you had a whole section of singers, and the dancers could sing. because they would be off doing Broadway. So
And they're performers.
And they're
You know what I'm
performers.
saying? Typically, you're brought up to dance, sing, act, do it all.
And you're in it with people who do this,
exactly.
who do that.
Who
And so
eat, sleep, and breathe. Yeah.
And so when you would go to auditions, you had the best singers there. And so I barely made it out the skin of my teeth.
Oh, please.
They had already decided who they wanted. It was 3 girls. I had a free period. And I was like, I told the guy, I was like, hey, if I don't get in, I'd love to help y'all out because, I got a free period and I ain't even worried about the audition. I ain't even worried about the audition. Just let me come and help y'all. If I make it or not, And he responded to that. And then the next thing you know, I got in the group.
Wow.
And it was because of that. He saw like my drive, my ambition. Yes, exactly. And so, and that's another thing that, and I know we'll talk about that later, but that sort of thing is the type of thing you have to carry on when you start inching your way into the business.
Right.
And so, I started doing that. I did a couple of jazz songs with them and with the other ladies who were beautiful, Nadia, Shenandalyn, and Layla. I remember them.
Shout out to you girls.
Shout out to you, all females. And so, and then after that, I just kept with it. I went to New Orleans because their jazz scene is amazing down there. And I studied with Ellis Marcellus and Delfeo Marcellus, famous instrumentalists, and Leah Chase, excellent vocal teacher and singer. And I had an amazing time. I did it in New York too. I was in Katrina, and so I got displaced. And so when I went to New York, I studied jazz in New York too, under, I forgot her name, Minicelli? I don't want to mess it up. We did jazz up there, and their jazz scene in New York is really good too. Amazing singers.
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where it started.
Yep. A lot of people started there.
So I know you've performed also in very prestigious venues like Carnegie Hall and Lincoln Center.
Yeah.
How did the pressures of those stages compare to the pressures of making a name for yourself, like as a individual? You know what I mean? Because I know with jazz, you typically sing with a jazz band, different things like that.
Yeah.
And it's typically, as a singer, you're a part of the band.
Yeah.
From my understanding of
jazz.
Yeah. So how did the pressures coming from those stages kind of correlate to the pressures of making a name for yourself as an artist today?
Well, I was doing classical music, classical repertoire when I was doing those performances.
Right.
And what it was they used to do workshops for the colleges. And this is actually when I was in New York when I got displaced from Katrina. So interestingly enough, if it hadn't been for Katrina, I would have never moved to New York and had those opportunities.
Wow.
So you never know what guy got set up during your, that's another.
That's a word.
If I could get out this chair. I did that. And so with classical music, I knew that wasn't what I really wanted to do. So I would just have fun with it. So I didn't have a lot of pressure. I respected the talent, I respected the craft, and I respected the work and education that you have to have, and the discipline in order to do that type of music.
Right.
Because it's very difficult, and those ladies and gents that do that are amazing.
Technical.
And they do it well.
Yeah.
I knew that's not what I wanted to do, even though I loved it. So I didn't necessarily feel the pressure in that space and in that context. But when I finished at Dillard, because I gave my degree to an HBCU, did kind of feel the pressure because that's what I wanted to do.
Right.
So when I would be with the bands and I would practice with Leah or Delfeo or Ellis, they would just be on me about technique, passion, and improvisation, learning your notes, getting your ear together, which I still to this day don't have the best ear, but I got a lot of training out of them. And so that's sort of when the pressure started and I started feeling it. But I did business management and music, so got a dual degree. And so when I started learning more of the business side of it, I became less pressure with the singing of it because
it opens up.
And then the business side tends to be a little bit more important than the music side, because we know singers out here that are not the best singers, but are Grammy Award winning artists. Sometimes it's not the singer, it's the song.
Yeah,
So,
and then there's singers that are phenomenal and are hardly eaten. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, because I have my degree in music industry studies, so I completely understand.
Yeah, it changes like I always say that it takes the magic out of the music.
Yeah.
Because you get to see that, I don't know if you've seen The Wizard of Oz or The Wiz.
Of course. No, The Wiz.
The Wiz.
The Wiz, okay.
So when you look back and you see like, oh, this is not what it really is.
Yeah.
I can't just get up on here and sing.
Exactly.
I can't do that. And I have to do all this other stuff and worry about all this other stuff. So it kind of took the magic out for me. But, it's definitely worth it in going to studying the industry before you start it,
right.
To get a better idea of what you're in for.
Right. So how did that business aspect help you as an artist to make your deals and different things like that?
Come on, deals.
Deals.
What deals?
No.
No deals. I gotta be honest.
When I mean deals, I mean you are literally performing constantly, getting paid for it. That's a deal. You know what I'm saying?
I can see what you mean, like weddings and but my first performance was actually with this production group called the FYA Productions. They actually just had a reunion a couple months back, and it was Sasha and Carolina, and there was this beautiful place called King. And me and my homeboy used to sing for this DJ that DJ'd for them. And then he heard me sing and he was like, yo, you gotta come to the floor and do this. The place was amazing. I sang and they were like, yo, we have a show coming up called the Floor Show. And it's basically just people who dance, who sing, who do instruments. And they would get up and perform in sort of this weird way where everything kind of went together. I can't even explain it, but it was amazing. And that was my first paying gig. It was $250. When I tell you, I needed that $250. That's 2 light bills, the gas bill. I mean, so it was amazing. And so after that, I kind of thought about it. Well, everything that I learned in the music business, it's not really like that when you're first starting out.
Right.
Because people are going to come to you and be like, yo, look, we don't have a lot of budget, man. We only got maybe, $150 for you, but we'll get you something to eat, and so it's not kind of like what you're learning in the business.
Right.
So you have to start thinking about, okay, what am I worth? What do I have to do to get here? Like a lot of people who start off in California in particular, they don't have cars and stuff like that, sleeping on somebody's couch.
Yeah.
And so am I gonna have to take 2 buses, the train, and the Amtrak to get here and then have to do that same thing to come back?
Right.
You know what I mean? And start factoring that in.
Yeah.
Okay, it's $20 for this bus, $20 for that bus. Now you have Uber or whatever the case may be. And then it's like, you start figuring out your own strategic ways, setting up your own business model to see how you function within what you do.
Right.
Because you may say, okay, I heard you sing, and then that's when I started doing like little jazz spots. And then they would be like, okay, well, we can't pay you, but we can give you a piece of the door. What does that mean to you, and navigating that? And if you get the door, do you get the drinks? Or how many people do you bring in? Is it pay to play? And we started this thing, beautiful, amazing show called The Soul Spot, myself and my homeboy Jeremy, which was really popular out here, The Soul Spot LA. And a lot of celebrities, a lot of famous people started to do that because we started creating our own business model. We're tired of doing pay to play.
Right.
And so you just have to, as far as the things that you learn in school and the business acumen that you gather in school, you may not use it it's good to have it, but you may not use it. And so the key is creating a business model for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
I like to think also like being in school is a great networking opportunity.
Yes.
At least for me, when I was in school, I realized that there were certain things that I could do that I never expected that I could do, like maybe production and arranging different things for music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then it also made me realize like there's so many different connections, so many different people that you could connect with and different things like that. So
friends for life.
Friends for life.
Friends that make it and they be like, hey, do you still?
Do you still?
Absolutely.
Heck yeah. Yep. Exactly. So
you're exactly right.
So I felt like that was really powerful for university for me, but like in general, what you're saying is so powerful because it is, it is true. Because typically you're like, okay, this is completely different starting off. But then you will encounter a situation where you
absolutely
where them skills from school, you like,
it's better to have it than not have it.
Exactly.
So yeah, I would encourage people, if you want to do it, get you a little bit of schooling. You may not have to go all the way,
right,
but get you, a little bit. And if you can't do school, read. The information is out there.
Or watch this podcast.
Period.
If
you're trying to be on fire, then you gotta,
watch this chat.
Period.
So you mentioned wanting to create moments that challenge social constructs and ignite empathy. How do you balance that intention and also while producing your music successfully?
Well, I used to do poetry. So like I told you, I really wanted to be a writer. Yes, that's true.
Got an extra tool in your tool belt.
You're right. A writer, and so I am a writer. And
that happens to sing amazingly like an angel in the sky.
but yeah, when I wrote that and when I was starting to do it, I was just starting to really get into, it was 2009. I was in college, so it was Obama year. I just started really seeing and focusing on my community and just noticing all of the things that we went through, especially after Katrina. And going through that, and when Obama became president, after all those things that happened with Katrina, it just kind of clicked for me. And so I started doing kind of performance art where I was like including music in my poetry and stuff like that, in the tradition of like Nina Simone, and just really doing things that kind of challenged or just speaking, in the way that Marcus Garvey spoke, in the way that Malcolm X spoke within my poetry, and kind of I was kind of very in your face, militant back then in school, and started carrying that. So that was more of my poetry more than my music. My music is like, I always say that I really wanted to do music like Gloria Gaynor. There's a song called I Will Survive.
Yeah.
So it's like an upbeat song by Gloria Gaynor, but it's a really sad song if you listen to the lyrics. And I said, I don't want to be sad. Right. I want to be like dancing and bumping, but I'm going through this. I want to be like up, what I'm saying? Exactly. Even though I'm sad. And so I wanted to do music like that. So, yeah.
I love that. It's funny because that was actually our, believe it or not, it was our engagement song.
Oh, for real?
Yes. We actually got engaged and that song was playing in the background, so we always think of it as our engagement.
We've been on all day though. With the blue jean and everything, I've been on all day. My powers are getting stronger. I'm telling y'all I'm an X-Man. I'm telling y'all.
Man, with the gift of song.
There you go. But yeah, I became like more militant in that. But that's more of my poetry and the spoken word that I used to do in college versus my music.
So what's your main message then?
I write about heartache a lot, breakups. I'm one of those. In the tradition of Mary J., in the tradition of, Adele, in the tradition of, Charlie Puth, Lucky Day, who was amazing. And then other local artists, Angela Nice, who is out there doing big things. So many people, Cameron, Duran, but Duran is a little bit different. Anyway, I'm just naming people now, but I'm more of a heartbreak song type of guy, torch song. Back in the jazz days, they would call it a torch song. I do music like that, but I don't want it to be sad. I still want to be able to dance it out.
Right.
So my music is like, cinematic.
Maybe sad, but I'm cute and I'm pretty.
Yeah. And the only sort of reference that I could think of was Gloria Gaynor. Like the first I was afraid, I was petrified and all of that. And then how it just becomes this really upbeat song, but she's singing about heartache. So I think that's sort of my vibe with the music. It's gonna make you suck out the poison of a breakup or get rid of the feelings of pain or whatever that you're feeling because of that breakup, because you're gonna be dancing and you're gonna feel good.
Right. It gives you the time to face it.
Yeah.
But in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Like you said, and then takes your mind off of it.
Yeah, because sometimes you need that blues to like cry it out. To get, like they say when you get bit by a snake, you gotta suck the poison out. You gotta get it out of you.
You're right.
And sometimes that first phase is like, I'm gonna listen to this heartache music, cause and all that type of stuff like that. And then you know, the next thing, you know, it's 7 p.m. Friday, it's 95 degrees, you know, like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like the next minute you like that, but you know, first you gotta go through that. So I'm like the first part of the breakup.
Go ahead and add him to y'all playlist.
Yes, for the first part of the breakup.
Get that first party in, and go ahead and transition over.
There you go.
And then when you circle back around, and fall back in love, you can go ahead and get my stuff too.
And it's fire. We're gonna keep the brand going.
Keep the brand.
Period. Well, I will say, if I had a message for new artists, it would be to protect yourselves and go with your gut. Because one of the things, and I gotta be honest, like I was telling you before, like sometimes you lose the magic for the music. And if you are a new artist, I would challenge new artists not to do that, but do that by protecting yourself and going with your gut. If it feels wrong, it probably is. And don't let stardom make you lose who you are. Because if you don't know, what did Oprah say? If you go into fame not knowing who you are, the fame will define who you are. That's what it became for me, because I came in LA and tried to hit the ground running. I started interning with Universal Studios. Then I met Malik Youssef, who wrote Dark Twisted Fantasy for Kanye West. And I was a part of their camp for a couple years. And I was ready to, like, I started writing songs and all of that type of stuff. And the way that all happened was crazy. But I was willing to do, because I'm like, I'm right here, like, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to sacrifice this, I have to sacrifice that. Like, I know that I shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying, sleeping on nobody's couch, you know, like, you know, my whole life. I have to make this work. But then it's write these 5 songs for these artists. Yo, man, you don't put your name on it. Nah, we gonna get you, bro. We gonna get you. We can't put your name on it right now, man. Well, look, we ain't got no money for you right now. We can't put your name on it because, you know, you just an intern. So just like, don't fall for none of that, even if it's right there. Because if it's good enough for them to want it, it's good enough for you to do it on your own.
Ooh, that is so powerful.
You know what I'm saying? I was from Texas. I didn't have any money. I didn't have anything. And so when I'm looking at Kanye West over here, Malik Youssef over here, I'm like, I'm in the studio with all of these people. I gotta do, you can have this, of course. You can have it. No. Don't do that. Don't be gullible, man, because it will mess you up. And it made me sort of lose that fire that I had for the business.
Yeah, because it kind of shows you the ugly part of it too. And it's like, dang, I thought everybody's gonna be cool like me. Everybody's not gonna be cool like you. You know what I'm saying? And
it's crazy the business things that you do, because at the time when I met Malik, I was a leasing manager by the Grove, and he was like, okay, we're trying to get this apartment. They're really nice luxury apartments. And he was like, and I was like, yeah, I can get it. You know what I'm saying? And he hit me with, yeah, man, you a singer or something? I was like, yeah, I heard you humming when we was coming up. I was like, yeah, I'm a singer, man. But I'm more of a writer. He said, right, sing me something that you wrote. I sang him the song that I wrote. And he was like, done deal, bro. Like, yeah, you come to the studio. And I was in the studio with them that night.
Wow.
Called my homeboy and I was with him that night. But then it was the next day was, so what's up with the discount on the apartment? I'm like, what? And I did it.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And I risked something, you know, my livelihood, because I wasn't making any money doing that. You know what I'm saying? So I risked that in order to do a little something. You know what I mean? And I just wish that if I had to do it over, I would have understood my worth.
Right.
And I would have done things differently.
Yeah. So like that's a good message.
Yeah.
Like, don't get sucked up in the star power. You get what I'm saying? Because
Don't
like you said, if it's good enough that they want it, people will pay for what they really want. They'll find the money some way. Or
like Issa Rae says, don't look vertically, work laterally. So find the artist that is kind of on the same level. And help boost them up, because they're likely to give you $200 where the other people won't give you nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's really important. Like, really value yourself. And it's not to say don't work up to it, but you have to be smart about what you're doing. Don't just give it away.
Yeah.
Okay, I may not have. Okay, so you like the song, cool. I don't have to get paid for it, but I need my name on it. Period.
Exactly.
As lead writer, so that I can start building a resume.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or if they don't have money, you want royalties. You want if
all that type of stuff.
If it does blow up, I need royalties. If it doesn't, then we all didn't make nothing.
And that's what happens when you, like I was telling, when you do need that business industry,
right?
That education. And so I had to pivot because I wasn't interested in that business part because I didn't have the demeanor for it. Because I'd have been gone.
What you mean, Ombre?
Because I like to fight, and they did too. And they had access to stuff I didn't have access to. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm out here, because I'd have been gone. But you know what I mean? I'd have been gone. But so I had to pivot. Yeah. And it was like, how can I do what I want to do? And I just started singing in clubs and then started singing at people's events. And it was more rewarding. It ended up being more rewarding for me.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so excellent. I love that. So how can an artist use their access to then move forward? Like, if you could give them a step-by-step plan, what would that be?
Ooh. I used to hate when artists do this, but I'm actually about to do it, and I see why. I hate when artists say, "You just gotta make your own plan. Just keep at it. Just keep doing it. You just gotta keep doing. Believe in yourself. You just gotta keep doing."
That is frustrating because you'd be like, ugh.
You know what I'm saying? I hated that.
Just give me something to do so I can do it.
And I agree, and that's why I'm trying to really come out with something. Because what I didn't work for me, but it didn't work for me because I didn't know that I didn't have the heart for the business. The business part, not the music.
Right.
I did not know. I knew I had the skill. I knew I could write, but I didn't know. You would have never told me that I didn't have the heart for it. And I had to recognize what the difference was. So my journey might not be everybody else's journey. Right. So to tell you, do this, and it'll work, stir, and you're gonna get the Kool-Aid, it might not happen, you know what I mean? But what I will say is keep your nose to the streets and go where you want to be. So if the local artists there, because the local artists know how, especially in LA, the background singers, the people that are doing little shows, stay connected to them. If you want to be a singer, you need to be around singers. Then if they respect you, if they like you, they will put you on. Yo, I can't do this gig. Yo, I can't do this gig, but my homegirl should do it. And bam, be ready. Right. Or go to there's a Writers Guild. Go to the Writers Guild and then look at some of the things that they have, the events they have. Go on their websites. Go on the unions. Go on the unions' websites and see what events they have and see if you got. Follow on Instagram the local artists that you know, because if you can get it locally, and I'm saying especially for LA, and even in other cities, but in LA, they will expand the people who you're around. If you're not from here, you don't know where to go. So I would say go to where you want to be. If you want to be a singer, go to where the singers are. If you want to go be an artist, go to where the artists are. See what they're doing. See what competitions they enter. See who they talk to. See what workshops. And then one of the things that I hate about some singers is they be like, well, they just want to be, I don't like deal with a lot of people because they only want you for what you can do for them. If I'm a singer, I'm going to go where the singers are. Right. If I don't want to be a chef, you know what I mean? If I want to go to cook and learn how to make dumplings, I'm not going to go to the singers convention to do it. I'm going to go where they bake cakes and dumplings. So don't, right. But you do have to have sort of a swag and a sweet spot, and be honest. If you love their work, go to their concerts. Right. Support your local artists. You never know who they're opening for. And so I would say start there. Go where you want to be. Go where the art is that you want to pursue. And start developing relationships in that local area. Because if you're out here, then you halfway done. Half of the premium that you're paying for is the entertainment and how close in proximity you are to it. Right. I was able to meet a friend at a karaoke bar. I was like, oh, you can sing. Let me know when your next performance is. I went to his performance. He pulled me up on stage to sing with him. I sang with him. One of the people that was there grabbed me and it was like, yo, we doing this party for Stevie Wonder. Will you come and sing happy birthday? It's a private party. I went, me and the boy, because always pay it forward.
Yeah.
If your homeboy put you on and it was his thing, invite him out.
Network.
Don't keep your relationship strong. So I invited him out, and we ended up making a little bit of extra money because it was like, well, what are we supposed to do? We here early. I'll give y'all $50 if y'all pass out these trays. We ended up passing out the trays. I went, we said happy birthday to Stevie Wonder. And then that's a night that I will never forget, and nobody will ever know because it was a private event, you know what I mean? But sometimes the magic happens just like that.
Right.
So that's another thing. The people that you meet on the way up or on the ascent, keep them, especially if they're worth it. And if you get a gig, invite them on. If you can't do it, hey, my homeboy can do it. I got somebody that can do it.
Yeah.
Continue to pay it forward, pay it backward, pay it to the side. Keep people, do good by people.
Yeah. And it's crazy because this industry really is ever changing. Like, it's so important to network and to keep those connections, like you said, because literally you never know. The homie you were singing at the bar with or at the open mic with, literally overnight can be the background singer to Ariana Grande.
Yes.
Overnight.
And you're smart. You're amazing. That's very smart what you said when you were like, yo, school is such a amazing place because you don't know who you're sitting next to.
Literally,
you don't know who you're sitting to. You don't know what access, because that person in school, if y'all both singers, but then that person, you don't know whose mama that person is. She may ask you to do background. I was like, okay, we're doing background. You come to the studio, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, who got kids? Who got kids that's out there? Let's just say Beyonce. We say her for everything. Beyonce came in and it was, you know what I'm saying? It was her little niece or somebody like that. And she was like, oh, you didn't know this my auntie. You never know who you're around.
Exactly.
So you're smart when you say school is good too, because you never know whose daughter, whose son, what access they got. And if they like you and you could sing, they'll put you on. So and you build up your resume.
Build up your resume, build your connections.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So this industry, it often emphasizes metrics and streams and followers, especially for the day that we're living in. It's actually a blessing because, back in the day, you literally had to go through a record label in order to put out any type of music, in order to do anything.
Yep.
But with streaming platforms and different things like that, now you're not only competing with just how do I get into the label, you're competing with literally any and everything, like the meme of the dog doing a dance and different things like that. How do you navigate social media? How do you utilize that as an artist, and what would you give new artists for tackling social media to the fullest?
I have an amazing answer for that.
Yay!
You ready for it?
I'm ready.
I don't navigate social media. I don't navigate social media, but social media has only gotten me one paid gig.
Wow.
I got introduced and networked through doing. Shout out to Michelle Obama, do something. I could film a dog singing and put my song on it and make him, dance to my music and continue to put stuff out, or film my homeboy doing a hokey pokey, I don't know, and then put it on, it works for them. But I would say do the work, perform. If you're an artist, when we talk about music, if you're any type of artist, do your art and be around people that do it. Your numbers will take care of themselves. I am not a social media guru. I don't have many followers at all. But my rent is paid. Ooh. So I'm just saying, it could. Fans are fickle anyway, and really the thing that catapults people is usually something that is sensationalized. And so if you are somebody who wants that, then by all means, film a dog, put your song to him dancing, and then post it, or do a compilation video of people falling and have your song playing in the background. Do however you want to do it. I'm not a guru on social media, but I will say it will help your social media if you do what it is that you were supposed to do. And then if you want to film that, put it up there. Put it up there and be consistent. I'm not consistent. And this is not a cautionary, could be a cautionary tale, but it is inspiring because there are people that have made it and surpassed me economically, socially, because they found their way of doing it. I couldn't find a way to doing it that I was willing to compromise.
Right.
And I didn't want to.
Right.
But some people don't have to. And some people have it early. I didn't. So I would tell people to continue to go after it if you love it and don't stop doing it. And when you do it, your social media will follow. And it'll be the people that won't just click your name and then 2 weeks later click it off. It'll be the ones that stay.
Loyal.
You know, loyal,
Yeah.
exactly.
Loyalty.
Yeah.
That's fire.
Yeah.
If navigating the music industry were like composing a song, what would be the key notes or rhythms that new artists should focus on to make sure their career hits all the right beats?
Ooh. Stomp them, you stomped it. I don't know. Cess notes, sustain notes. Sustain notes. Keep doing it.
I love that. I love what you did there, period.
When you hit that pedal, you hit your sustain pedal, keep doing it. That's what I would say. And follow the rhythm that you have naturally. Everybody's rhythm is different. When you're creating rhythm, just start first by being still and listening to the note. And usually it'll carry you the rest of the way of what you want to do.
I love that.
Did I answer it okay?
That was
okay.
cute. That was so good. Okay, so and then what? Okay, one last thing. It's not a question.
Okay.
But every time I ask my guests here on Fya Sidechats to give our listeners a homework assignment so they could stay hot like Fya in this industry. So
give you a homework assignment.
What's their homework assignment?
Keep watching Fya Sidechats. That's your homework.
Period.
Watch the first one through the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Keep watching it. Take notes and do your thing. You got this. It's already done. And what is for you, it's never going to be taken away. That's what
Period.
I would say. Yeah.
Well, there you heard it from the man himself.
Period.
Thank you so much, Ombre. It's been awesome. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you so much. It's been a joy.
Oh, my.